Interesting question on X the other day, Mac, from creepy.org. And they said, what scene from a horror movie still haunts you to this day?
That's a good question. There's been like 3 or 4 over the years. I wouldn't say any currently I'm creeped
Yes.
out by, but over the years, when I was a kid, I definitely watched The Exorcist and Friday the 13th way too early, and I had nightmares about The Exorcist and also the mother, Jason's mother from Mrs. Voorhees, Pamela Voorhees, scared the shit out of me from Friday the 13th. Also, I had a recurring nightmare for like 3 years when I was a kid watching an episode of The X-Files, which doesn't really fall under this, but it's sort of the same idea. In my adult life, when I saw The Strangers in the summer of 2008, we went back to my buddy's parents' house in New Hampshire in the Lakes region, which was the whole first floor, the back part that faced the lake was all glass. And I don't know if you've seen The Strangers, Goo, people like creeping on you in like a regular home. When I get a little creeped out when people can see in and you can't see out. I don't like that because then like you can't maneuver. They see everything that you're doing. So that's probably the most recent example. What about you?
I would say for me, and this just goes back to one simple answer. I always go back to this. And this is at the age of roughly 13, 14. In the movie Signs, at the Brazilian birthday party, the home video of just a normal birthday party, out of nowhere, this alien saunters out of the bushes.
Yeah, he does a little Sasquatch walk by the alley and keeps going. And it's an incredible jump scare in a movie that was very good and creepy as it was. That was so unexpected in that movie that it all-time great jump scare. And you know what I love too, thinking back? So I think Signs was 2001 or 2002. They had to frame it as a birthday party, so they would have the camcorder, which you wouldn't need to do now because of cell phones.
Right. And it's the simplicity of the home footage. It's kind of grainy, so it can look a little bit off.
Mm-hmm.
And just as soon as that thing pops out, because I do believe in aliens, but still the thought of aliens, if I ever see one, I'm gonna shit my pants.
Yeah, you and I, well, what are you going to do if an alien shows up? You can't do anything. You might as well just stay relaxed, you know?
I'm gonna surrender.
You're going to die.
Do what you want to me.
I agree with you. Like, we are not ghost boys, but aliens definitely exist, you know? If you believe in ghosts, fine, whatever. If you don't believe in aliens, you're a moron.
One goo, three, goo. Jaws 3. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Entertainment.
I'm Goo.
And I'm Mac.
And today's topic is a big old basketball.
Yeah, Goo's been real inspired by the month of March and March Madness here. He got all jazzed up and said, hey, let's talk about the best fictional basketball scenes in movies. And I said, okay.
All right, so what we're going to do here, we have 3 kind of topic-ish things going on here. We're going to start off with best basketball scenes. Not best. I picked 6, no particular order. I'm not saying if they're good or bad. Shut up. I'll get to that in a second. Then we have, we're going to do a little draft of the best fictional starting lineups. Mac v. Goo on that one. And then we also have a little something in your sack. So I say without further ado, Mac, let's get to 6 basketball scenes that I just gotta talk about.
Wait, what's Goo's juicy six-pack?
Child, let me tell you.
Goo's juicy six-pack. Goo's juicy six-pack. Oh, 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 oh. Goo's juicy six-pack. Goo's juicy six-pack.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Before we move on? Why is it a horse?
That's a unicorn.
Where's the horn?
Any more questions?
If you don't know what I'm talking about, the little video that just played with the theme song has Goo and a horse.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, I don't sing that song, so don't think I do.
True. Good point. Shut up,
Right,
Mark.
let's get to a basketball scene that really set comic book movies back quite a bit. And that is from the movie Catwoman, when
Yes.
Patience Phillips and Benjamin Bratt. Now, they're supposed to have a bit of a budding romance going on, a bit of a flirtation. So what do? The sexiest thing possible. One-on-one basketball. After being peer pressured by children, of course. And what Patience does in this scene, in this little 90 seconds, is just pure nonsense. From the way that she is dribbling and bouncing the ball back and forth, which I do, she's a cat. So like yarn, I kind of get that. But then she runs up a wall, does a flip. And as they're going back and forth, her and Benjamin Bratt, the camera moves and the editing is nauseating. I cannot. It's just back and forth. And these idiots in the crowd, these children, are so impressed by all of these moves. They even find a way to make a shot of Halle Berry's ass look unappealing. Like the way that they have her bouncing back and forth, fucking slow that shit down.
Yeah, there's so many contextual things to know about this. So number one, we've talked about it. People have talked about it before, but
yes,
the character that Halle Berry plays in this movie is not a character from comic books. It's
not Selena Kyle.
They just make up a new Catwoman character so they can do whatever they want, I guess. And then on top of that, Catwoman
they can do this if they want.
Catwoman comes out in 2004, and it's hard to think that they are not influenced by the popularity of the And One mixtape tour, which was like 2001, 2002, The Professor, that whole thing, Hot Sauce. So we started seeing these types of scenes in the early and mid 2000s, I think a lot because of And One.
Although what I do like about this is that Benjamin Bratt is trying to like back her down. So he's putting his ass into her.
Yeah.
And to combat that, now you learn this at firefighter school.
Yes.
In order to fight a fire, you fight it with more fire. She turns around and sticks her ass right into him.
The best low post defense is to also back down the person backing you down. Everyone knows that.
And then we do get some And One dribbling where she's going between her legs. And then she does, as a cat does, an amazing dunk.
Yeah. And I wonder, and we'll talk about this scene in a few minutes.
Yeah.
I wonder how in The Amazing Spider-Man that they knew this scene existed and they still did what they did in that movie.
If there was a referee on The Amazing Spider-Man, a lot of calls. Lot of calls.
Well, that's, Goo, when you're playing street ball, you call your own fouls. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like if Flash tried to call his own foul against Peter in that, someone might have said, your feet were still moving. And then he'd say, well, Peter fucking traveled. He took 6 steps and ran me over. We're not on that scene yet, though, Mac.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Right.
So she finishes her rim rattling dunk and then lands on him, straddles him, and they just kind of sit there sexy for a second.
Yeah.
And the kids say, can we have our ball back?
Well, after you play someone one-on-one, there's nothing more you want to do than roll around in the sheets. It's a natural aphrodisiac.
Did you ever in high school ever have like a thought of playing one-on-one with a girl and that leads to hooking up?
I think now that I'm thinking about it, if she was backing me down, you would like lean into it,
I had that thought when I was in high school once.
Ooh.
I might have thought about that once, being back down, and then that leads to sexy time.
And then all of a sudden, the lights go down and your pants drop.
So I guess, what would you grade this scene?
I think this is the scene that everyone first thinks of.
Yes.
Or one of the top 2 anyways. So in terms of like full ridiculousness for a fictional basketball scene, it's got to be a 40 dog scene.
When you think back to recently awarded Academy Award winning Halle Berry.
Yes.
Who then got a Razzie for this.
Mm.
And then went to the Razzie Awards and said, hey, thanks, guys.
Is she still the only person to actually go and accept her award?
Yeah, and I think she brought her Oscar with her when she went.
What did she win for, by the way? Monsters Ball?
Monsters Ball, yes.
How about that?
Yeah. Let's move on to the next scene. And we have Space Jam. And you might be saying to yourself, Oh, I know the basketball scene that you're talking about. It's the final play of the game when Bill Murray comes out of the tunnel and they do some passes back and forth. And Michael Jordan does this amazing slam dunk from almost half court after being told by the Looney Tunes, you're in cartoon land, you can do whatever you want, when that's something they should have led with.
Yeah,
They
truly
should have said, hey, you
inspirational.
can do whatever you want.
Right.
Although I don't think Jordan has the greatest imagination anyways, but we'll get to that in a second. The scene that I want to talk about is before we get to that. When you have the big boss, you have the coach of the Monstars, the leader of Moron Mountain. He's yelling at his team saying, why didn't you get this guy's talent? Why would you get those slouches' talent? By the way, those slouches, 15 All-Stars, 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, well,
not really slouches.
The Monstars, we had Sean Bradley, Muggsy Bogues, Larry Johnson, Charles Barkley, and who was the fifth one?
Did you say Sean Bradley yet?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Bradley, Bogues, Barkley,
Patrick Ewing.
That's right. So maybe not Larry Johnson or Larry. No,
Larry Johnson was one of them.
All right. Yeah.
And if you go back and you listen to my award-winning Space Jam podcast that I did with Marcus Estevez 5 or 6 years ago, I went through the accomplishments of all the Monstars talent that they stole.
Mm-hmm.
And what this movie told you is that those 5 guys not equal to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan better than those 5 guys.
You know what? If you just talked about it strictly basketball wise, the only person that's even like remotely close is Barkley. And if you wanted to get into the X's and O's of it, they needed another wing and another guard. They had too many bigs.
They went too big. We can agree on that right now. But also, I mean, you still have 2 Hall of Famers there. Granted, neither of those Hall of Famers won a championship, so you could look at it that way. And Jordan took both of them down constantly. But let's get to this, though, is that while he is yelling at the Monstars for not getting the talent of Michael Jordan overhears this. He says, hey, do you want a piece of me? That's the acting of Michael Jordan in this movie. That's the high-quality talent that we have. And the coach says, what do you have in mind? And Jordan says, if we win, you give the NBA stars their talent back. And if we lose, so if you win, we lose. There we go. That's how that works. Jordan says, you get me. And what I love about this is that this movie shows off Jordan's pure addiction to gambling and the fact that he hates life with his family so much that he is willing to give it up and gamble away his freedom if he doesn't win this basketball game.
If there was any doubt that Michael Jordan was suspended due to gambling on basketball, this movie only confirms that he 1,000% is a terrible gambler, and David Stern asked him to walk away for a year.
He was willing to enter slavery
just to get another wager off.
Yes. He needed this. And I now think that before every NBA Finals, Jordan would go up to the best player every time and say, if you beat me, you own me.
Yeah, right. There might be something to that. There definitely might be something to that. Because, like, obviously the Last Dance came out 2 years ago now, and it's funny to see Jordan talk about stuff that happened 25 and 30 years ago, and him still be bitter and competitive about it. Like, the man can't get over stuff. He's just uber competitive and would still bet on whatever today.
I wish they did one episode of that where he's like, and then that damn coach of the Monstars, he wouldn't give the players talent back, so I had to step in. I said, you get me. They should have done like one little clip of that. Let's have some fun. All right, Mac, the scene that I was referencing earlier to how bad at basketball I am would be Along Came Polly. And I'm not even talking about all the shenanigans of the sweaty, shirtless, hairy guy with Ben Stiller. That's fine. That's fun. Philip Seymour Hoffman in this scene, the physical comedy that he pulls off, you don't think of him in this comedic light as much as we should. Think about what is the porn movie? I'm blanking right now.
The with porn
Mark
movie,
Wahlberg.
Dirk Diggler?
Yes.
What is the name of that movie?
I'm a Superstar.
Fuck. I always forget the name of this fucking movie. I always can remember Dirk Diggler. Boogie Nights.
So think about Boogie Nights with his wife. Or no, he's the stagehand because William H. Macy has the wife that keeps sleeping with William H. Macy, also hilarious. Boogie Nights, a very, very funny movie. Burt Reynolds did not like it.
Yeah, well, Nina Hartley, an actual porn star, was in the movie, so that doesn't make sense.
But the physical stuff that Philip Seymour Hoffman is pulling off in this scene, rain dance.
I think it says raindrops, does he?
I thought it said rain dance. Is it raindrops?
I think it's raindrops, but I haven't seen it in fucking
He
forever.
yells it. It's all that
Yeah.
matters is that as he's shooting, he white chocolate.
Yells it and hits the top of the backboard.
It's me. It's me.
That's like your classic. If you've ever played pickup basketball at like a court when you're fucking waiting,
Yeah.
you're like, all right, I got next. There's 2 teams waiting. Every team almost has that one guy that like should never take a shot and he takes 15 shots.
You also have an amazing line too of Ben Stiller's like, hey, why don't we switch who we're guarding? Why don't you guard this guy? And Philip Seymour Hoffman goes, no, I just figured out how to guard this guy.
For whatever reason, too, I love that his name is Sandy in that movie. It just like adds something to the character. It's fucking great.
So between this and the next one, I think these are the two most jiffable of the basketball scenes.
Yeah.
We then go to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will Smith joins Carlton's uptight, pretty much white basketball team. And I think the thing that I hate about the Fresh Prince the most is that they shot on the smallest basketball courts possible. I fucking hated that.
Yeah, we went to a middle school that had a lower gym that was probably built in 1920, and the dimensions of the gym are incredibly small, like not even close to regulation sized basketball court. And that's the court they're playing on here. Like the 3-point line is like at half court. There's no middle at all.
Made 6'2" Will Smith look huge, but it also made 5'4" Alfonso Ribeiro look huge because the court was way too small.
Very true.
Carlton this episode, he hates the fact that coach isn't giving him any more attention. Coach is away from the whole team aspect of the game now because it's all about Will. Carlton doesn't like that his dad is paying Will all these compliments. Now that Will is showing a little bit of like, what he can offer to the world, Philip Banks is like, you know what? I'm kind of bonding with him. I love basketball too. Now we can talk about something. Now I can be proud about Will about something. And Carlton doesn't like this. So what happens is when Will has a chance to make the final shot of the game, Carlton rips the ball from his hands and then throws it over the backboard.
But the magic of this is whoever came up with the idea, the editor, cinematographer, director, to slow it down and make it look like it's going to be an epic, good ending final shot, and then it completely missing everything. One of the funniest things of all time. It's so good.
I love it. I love that one. The next one up here, Mac, is like we talked about earlier, from the Amazing Spider-Man, we have the dunk. And Peter doesn't care for how Flash is treating this girl who is painting at the basketball court during either gym class or a practice. I'm not even sure what it is.
To have all of these people at once in the gym makes no sense. I don't know how they're all gathered there.
No. So what Peter does is after Flash does this twice, because Flash, you did that on purpose.
He's a real
you brought the ball over here on purpose.
Yeah.
Is Peter picks it up and decides to fucking school Flash. And he goes off the heezy on him. And then what Flash does, Flash backs off a little bit. Flash couldn't take the ball away from Peter's spider hands. So he backs him. He's like, go ahead, Peter. Let's see what you got. Peter decides to then, he dribbles a little bit, picks up his dribble, takes 6 steps, runs Flash over, and then dunks from the 3-point line.
I wonder why they needed to do this, because it takes you out of the movie completely. And the Amazing Spider-Man movies are not campy like the Raimi movies. And for them to throw this scene in the middle of the movie, you're like, what the fuck are they doing?
I didn't love the skateboarding scenes. There's a lot of skateboarding scenes in this movie.
Sure. Yeah.
And when we eventually do our podcast called Skateboarding, we'll talk about that there. But and Flash also fucks it up. He doesn't even take the charge. He steps into him. Obviously, you can call travel on Peter, but we don't even know what a travel is these days. There was a Euro step in there. It was a crab jump.
I also like, and we were just talking about this before we started recording, if you take steroids, it doesn't help you hit a baseball. Just because you have superhuman abilities now doesn't mean you know how to dribble and shoot a basketball. Like, you're just stronger and quicker, but you don't gain the abilities of hot sauce.
Kind of seeing what happened in Catwoman and in Spider-Man, I disagree.
So,
Peter, you now have the powers of a spider. You can climb walls shoot webs, dribble a basketball.
The little cherry on top of all these mutations is that everyone is now good at basketball as well.
And now let's get to a scene that people talk about a good amount, but I don't think give the proper context to this final scene. And
The movie is
okay, the movie's called Double Teamed. Is
Yeah.
it Double Team or Double Teamed?
probably Double Team, I'm guessing.
I told Mac to watch this last night, and then an hour later he came back saying, I watched all the scenes. I watched all the Double Team scenes.
You just started texting me out of the blue about it is called Double Team. Double Team, the 2002 Disney movie.
You can get it on Disney Plus. I suggest you watch it.
You just started texting me live texting, watching Double Teamed.
Because that scene, the final scene, is when we get the final shot of the game, but we'll get to that in a second. The final scene in its entirety, in quality, HD, even standard def, not even on there. There's only screenshots of people that post it.
Yeah.
And I said, what happened that led us to this point?
Right.
Why does this girl have this heel thing where she like builds up momentum that lets her slow her body down like she's fucking Quicksilver? And she can do this for what feels like 20 minutes when there's 6 seconds on the clock.
The defender should have stolen the ball very easily.
The defender didn't see this happening when she went like this, and they're like, oh shit, she's gonna go that way. So in this movie, let me just go ahead and just break this down for you real quick. It's about two twins. One is named Heidi. One is named Heather. Throughout the entire thing is, yes, I did watch the entire movie. I needed to know what happened leading up to that final scene. So I watched the full 90 minutes leading up to it.
Based on a true story as well.
Based on a true story. I didn't know either of the girls at any point of this movie because they're twins and they look alike.
Yeah, but
and even if you put their first initial on their shirt, that wouldn't help me because Heidi Heather.
Yeah, but they're not. This was the rare case in the early 2000s or late 90s that they didn't like CGI or shoot multiple scenes. It's two different girls.
It is two different girls
from two different actors, not related at all, playing twins.
But it is about two girls who are very good at volleyball. They're fucking behemoths. They're like 6'2". They're monsters compared to the rest of the children. They're only freshmen, by the way. So they switch high schools to get noticed, to get scouted for volleyball. And what happens is that when they get there, volleyball doesn't start until the spring. So you need something to do.
Right. Got to do something.
Heidi or Heather joins the basketball team, and then Heather or Heidi joins drama. But the father is one of those overbearing fathers, and he's like, I think you guys should both play basketball to get ready for volleyball.
Right.
So while he suggests that, Heidi or Heather does not do it yet. She still does drama, while Heidi or Heather does do basketball, and she's instantly a fucking star. She is able to, like, this was made in the year 2002, I believe. And this is about teenage girls from the early 90s. Like, they were in high school, actually high school in the late 80s. So the entire look of this movie sucks. But this girl, either Heidi or Heather, whichever one starts playing basketball at first, I think it's Heidi, but it might be Heather. She is instantly able to completely, anytime someone shoots the ball, she blocks it, goes transition three. She invented the fucking transition three. She had never played basketball before, and she is just making it rain every single time. And then once Heather or Heidi's father makes the other one quit drama without even telling her to sign her up for basketball too, that one, exact same skill set.
So I can't pretend to know how Heather and Heidi played in real life, but them probably being like 6'2" in some podunk town means they did dominate in high school, but they weren't jacking transition threes like Caitlin Clark. Like that wasn't a thing that was happening.
Transition threes, both of them were just setting up and ripping. There are, they might show like 3 or 4 games in this. I counted 2 missed shots from every team, and those 2 missed shots are blocked by one of them transition 3.
I just imagine them going up against like 5'7" girls, and the 2 girls are standing there like Duncan and Robinson, just missing layups with the other ones getting the rebound and putting it in. That's how they scored every point.
Also, there are multiple times when one of them will score, and then all the other girls congratulate them on scoring while the other team is running down the court. So it's real to life.
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
What
Yeah.
happens here, and this is how we get into that final scene. This is we're gonna paint a picture for that final scene.
Sure.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. Double
Turn
team.
turn us off right now.
Google double teamed, or do it on Yahoo with your filter off. See what pops up. But there is a game, and it might be a playoff game, might just be a regular game, where it's the end of the game and they need to hit some foul shots. And Heidi, I believe, goes out there to take the foul shots, and the coach goes up. Heather's the hot hand. Because I
She's the
believe
worst
the
one,
coach
too.
got teed. Yeah, and the coach got teed up, so you can pick who's shooting.
Yeah.
So Heather goes out there, hits a foul shot. She's the hero. And the father, who's usually proud of Heidi, goes and gives Heather a hug. And Heidi's like, where the fuck's my hug? So what happens is she goes to the cul-de-sac and practices with the homeless kid who taught her and her other two teammates how to play basketball earlier. And they're just doing one-on-one. And this kid's beating them, by the way. So what is this saying? It's like, women can't play basketball. This fucking homeless kid, he can beat them all. He's beat them all.
If this girl's been playing basketball for 3 months, that kid probably was beating them.
He created the transition three. So what happens is that as they were practicing, she fucking blows out her ankle just before the big game, just before the game where the scouts are coming, right?
Right.
So she blows out her ankle. She cannot walk.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is for that game, she's on the bench. She's not dressed. She has ice on her foot. She has crutches.
Yeah.
We get to the end of the game. There is 10 seconds left, and there's a foul. So one of her smaller teammates is shooting the foul shots. But Heidi says to her, take your time. And Heidi wobbles off.
Like
She
Willis
goes
Reed.
and puts her jersey on.
Yeah.
And comes back. It's like, coach put me in. And the coach is like, fuck it. Let's do it.
It is. It's a Willis Reed coming out from the tunnel.
And he also says, I was made to make this play. And I'm like, this guy's pretty fucking electric. He draws up this play and he's like, look, you're going to draw everybody in. Even though if I'm the other team, I'm like, you let the one-legged idiot shoot.
Let the flamingo shoot.
So the inbound comes in. Oh, by the way, the coach also says, hey, when that ball comes to you, you hold it. And it's like, there's 6 seconds left. Why are you holding it? You don't have time, Jason Tatum.
You gotta get the action going.
Yeah, you got to start moving the ball. So the inbound comes in. She gets the ball with 6.5 seconds left. She is 5 feet back of the three-point line. Then we get a close-up of her starting to ramp up and like do this heel thing. And she's shimmying her body around. Like I said, kind of like Quicksilver, time stands still. She can move at full speed. And as she is drawing someone
She's
in,
got to get rid of the inertia.
No, but it then pulls, like the camera pulls back and she is on the three-point line. Did she teleport? Did she take
you get 2 steps.
But even while she's doing her heel thing, she's like almost picking up her feet. She's really tempting the referee to call a travel arm.
What an ending to the movie that would have been.
Ball going other way.
Travel, you lose.
Yeah. And also, this move, I thought like this is what she was known for. She's known for this ramp up, pull the defender. She did this once in the movie prior to this.
Yeah.
I'm like, was she taught this? Is this something? But I don't even understand why this is the thing. And then she goes behind the back and throws a terrible pass to her sister. Like it is wide left by about 3 feet. And her sister just luckily put her arm out and got it because she's a goddamn giant.
Yes.
She got it, put it up, buzzer beater.
Bang.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. And then these 2 girls went and played in the WNBA.
I think that they didn't know how to build the tension properly. So he was like, all right, we're going to do some like really focused shots of her holding the ball as time is running down. But then someone was like, well, that's not really how basketball works. She wouldn't just stand there. And he's like, no. She's going to do this thing. And they're like, all right, let's see how it works.
Is that her move? Is that the triple deke? Yeah.
No pick and roll, no set action, nothing. She'll just stand up
like
25 feet away from the basket.
I also like how right after this happens, the father goes up to them after the game. He's like, I'm sorry I put so much pressure on you guys. I didn't mean to do this. It's like, this is the spot that you pick. You're the reason why they just won the game, Dad. Yeah, but you pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah.
Incredible scene.
I watched that entire 90-minute movie.
I don't know why you did that.
I had to know how we got there.
Had you never seen it before?
I saw it when I was younger. And by the way, I know exactly why I forgot about it. It's fucking boring.
Yeah.
It is a mayonnaise sandwich.
There's a chance it's the worst Disney original.
All right, Mac, let's move on to what you came here for.
Lightning, this is what you came for.
And that is the better fictional basketball team. Have you figured out how we're going to do this draft? Who's going to draft first? And then we'll do Serpentine.
So you want to set any parameters here?
So yes, we are not going to take anyone that is playing themselves in a movie.
Okay, so no like real pros.
Right. So you can't take Michael Jordan even when he is in an animated world.
Okay. I also, just because I felt like it was cheating, I didn't use any pros playing other characters. So like Shaq in Blue Chips or whatever. Like,
okay, I will get that out. Am I allowed to use animated characters?
You can use animated characters.
Yes, good. Because I have 8 animated characters. I would have had to do a whole new draft setup.
Do you want to do Serpentine? Is that
Serpentine?
Do you want to draft first? Do you want to draft 5 and then a 6th man?
We can do that if I have enough guys.
Okay. All right. Do you want first pick or do you want second pick?
I will do first pick because I believe this character needs to be drafted first pick.
All right.
So the first overall pick in the Mac and Goo fictional basketball lineup draft, Mac, listed at 6'7", but plays like he's 11 feet tall. Big man from the Diablos, Elliot Richards, played by Brendan Frazier in Bedazzled.
All right. You have Brendan Frazier from Bedazzled.
He set 5 league records in one game: 104 points, 45 rebounds, 32 assists, 37 steals, 28 blocks. Now, I will say there is one downside: tiny cock.
So he's real angry. He's like Draymond Green out there, just hacking people up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have very different teams. I can tell you that from that.
I texted you yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have any overlap.
All right. So you have Brendan Frazier from Bedazzled as the first pick. Yeah, Frazier.
His name is Elliot Richards.
With the second and third picks here, I'm gonna get real hairy on you, Goo. I'm going Air Bud from all the Air Bud movies. Listen, Air Bud can't dribble. He's unbelievable in transition. Never misses a shot. Great free throw shooter. He can't be your number one though because he can't dribble. You know who can be your number one, Goo? Teen Wolf, Scott Howard.
That's
played by Michael J. Fox. Got all the ups you'd ever need. He can be your Kobe Bryant, your Michael Jordan type of player. And not for nothing, since he's a Wolf, he's probably going to scare most of the other team.
Speaking of Michael Jordan, my next pick here, listed at 5'2", guard for the LA Knights, Calvin Cambridge, played by Lil Bow Wow in Like Mike. He's like Michael Jordan, but giddy.
Yeah, I was hoping he would slip to me. That's a good pick. He was in my top 3.
My first pick of the third round, unofficially listed at 9'11", forward from the Monstars, Hound from the movie Space Jam. He's thick. He don't get pushed around. He's got a big old bubble butt, and he's got the powers of Charles Barkley.
That's just lazy. Picking a Monster is lazy, Goo.
I
Absolutely lazy.
If you had to pick one, isn't it Pound?
Listen, it's lazy. That's all I'll say. It's fucking lazy. All right, so I don't know how I need to do this here. I already have the intimidation factor with a dog and a wolf, technically 2 dogs on the squad.
Yeah, you're gonna. Oh, good, you picked a fucking monster. Oh,
kidding me?
Let me go back to my dogs.
Well, I've run out of dogs, so that I got the top 2 on the board though. Now I'm not sure if I want to get sexy.
There's many more dogs. Air Bud has children. You can take any of the Air Buddies.
Fair enough. Do I want to get sexy here? Or do I want to go with a real basketball?
I hope you don't take my sexy pick.
I might go back-to-back sexy picks here. That's what I'm not too sure about. Give me Lola Bunny from Space Jam. There's just nothing reeks more than an animated Lola Bunny. I don't know what it is about her. She reeks sex appeal. She's dripping in sex appeal. Now, I think at the very least, I'll be distracting your Monstar with Lola Bunny.
So what I would say though, I'm the coach of my team, right?
Sure.
I would pull him aside and I'd say, hey, you see that little bunny over there? Don't call her doll. She doesn't
And
like.
what I like about Lola is she doesn't need the ball in her hands to affect the game. You know, you
That's a
need
good point. She's
you
always
need
moving.
you
She's
can't have all
always
alphas on the floor. That doesn't make a
Yeah.
good basketball squad. So I
Although
like
she's
her
kind of
there.
an alpha, though. I would say that outside of Jordan, she was the alpha of
When
that
she
team.
needs to step up, she can. That's for sure.
Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna take for my fourth pick here, first pick of the fourth round. Nathan Scott, played by James Lafferty from One Tree Hill, an absolute animal of a basketball player. Went to Duke and ended up playing for the Charlotte Bobcats. Goose. So I'm getting an NBA player here without taking an NBA player. I guess I had to get one real one.
All right, with my fourth pick in the fictional basketball player draft, 5'10" from the Flint Tropics, Jumping Johnny Johnson, Sugar Dunkerton, Downtown, Funky Stuff Malone, Coffee Black, or you might know him by his birth name, Clarence Withers, played by Andre 3000. Not only can he boost the play of those around him, he invented the alley-oop.
Really good pick, Gil. I love Andre 3000. Definitely the best player in that movie. So I'm glad you took him if you were going to take one.
And now my next pick, let's see. You took Teen Wolf. You took
Is this
Lola.
your fifth pick?
This is my fifth pick here. All right, listed at 5'10". His position is baller. Billy Hoyle, played by Woody Harrelson in White Men Can't Jump, gave him the slight edge over Wesley Snipes.
That's fair enough. So now you have a starting five. So you'll have enough
Starting
for
five.
a sixth man, right?
I got a sixth man.
All right. Let me take my fifth player and sixth man here. So now there's a lot of good options still available, considering we have completely different lists. I think we talked about one. I could take Will Smith, the Fresh Prince here. I'm not going to do that. You get Troy Bolton from High School Musical, who obviously is an absolute stud. I want to take Monica Wright McCall from Love and Basketball to make my team even sexier. But what I'm going to do here to really bring in the team camaraderie is take two people from the same show, from the same office. Give me Jim Halpert and Kevin Malone.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
You ever seen Kevin Malone shoot a free throw? 14 in a row. A nice elbow jumper.
I'm not going to hack Kevin, though.
I listen right now. They can run a nice two-man game at the top of the key. Jim Halpert, Kevin Malone, rounding out my six.
All right, my final pick here, and what a steal with my final pick here. An absolute stud. I could not find his height, but from the show Doug, Sky Davis.
Yeah.
It's a class act.
Yeah.
He can dunk from the free throw line.
I don't even remember the character.
He had a shoe line. He signed Doug's shoe.
I did no idea who this guy is.
Sky Davis.
There you go. Sky Davis for your
Give him a Google.
For the folks at home, my starting five for animated fictional basketball players.
Not animated, just
whatever you want to call it. Fictional basketball players. I've got Air Bud, Teen Wolf, Lola Bunny, Nathan Scott, Jim Halpert, and my sixth man, Kevin Malone, coming off the bench.
Whereas Goo has Elliot Richards, Calvin Cambridge, Pound, Andre 3000 from Tropic Thunder. Not Tropic Thunder. What's the other one? Semi-Pro. Air, Sky Davis, and who else did I have? This is all over the place. Billy Hoyle.
I might have to start Kevin as my big now that I'm looking at it. Kevin's might have to be my center here, but he's got nice touch around the rim.
I might put Billy Hoyle on the bench because I feel like he can spark my second team.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know. I think I have to start Lola, or maybe I'll bring Lola off the bench depending on what we need, because I got Air Bud and Teen Wolf got to start. They have the most endurance. They can go the full 40, 48, whatever we're playing. Nathan Scott's our alpha with Teen Wolf. That's our top two. Maybe Halpert's off the bench. One of the office guys might have to come off the bench. I don't know. I like my 6Q.
So head on over to social media. Let's call it X and vote on who you think had the best team.
Let's get into Max.
And Max, that could be anything. It could be a vote. And this week, Max, since we're on the topic of basketball, I asked you for a Mount Rushmore of basketball songs. Should I go first?
Yeah, I didn't come up with a Mount Rushmore. I just named two songs that I like.
Oh, but I like yours, though. Damn it. The one that you have first, that's a good one. So I think that Space Jam by the Quad City DJs might be the best of all time. Nothing gets me more jazzed.
I think it's number 2 behind the one that you apparently don't like.
The one that oh, no, the other one. Have you listened to that song recently?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second.
It's got 15 references in it.
By the way, the Quad City DJs like, jam, jump into the jam.
Great song.
Jam. Amazing. White Iverson by Post Malone.
Very good.
What gets me saucing.
You've mentioned White Iverson on this podcast at least like 12 times. I don't know how or why, but you have.
Because jokingly, me and my wife used to say that it was our song, but now I truly believe it is our song.
You liked Posty before he really became Posty, when he was still sort of in that weird, like kind of rapping stage, and now he's not really doing that anymore. But you have liked Post Malone from day one.
I've always liked White Iverson. I've always liked the song White Iverson.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm saucing on you. Basketball Jones by Barry White, also on the Space Jam soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's just sexy shit.
Barry White, what are you going to do?
And then the one that I just tossed on here because it's Globetrotters, and that is Sweet Georgia Brown. I think we can drop this, and we put what you had on here, and that is
How I Beat Shaq, Aaron
easily.
Carter.
Yeah.
All-timer.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. I put it in the hoop. Slam.
For the crowd screaming now, jam.
I swear, I'm telling you the facts. And
that's how I beat Shaq.
R.I.P. Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
That one's got to be up there, right in our wheelhouse as Disney kids as well.
Yeah.
You think Basketball by Curtis Blow stinks, which I think is insane.
I think it's fucking terrible.
That's the number 1 all time. That's the song.
So the reason why is because my father-in-law was singing it the other day.
Basketball is my
favorite. My son's like, oh, what's the song?
Up and down the court.
And I'm like, okay, let's put it on for him. Let's see what he says. He heard the first verse. He's like, Daddy, this song stinks. And I'm like, you know what? It does.
Every verse has like 3 or 4 player references from the 80s. It's fucking awesome.
All I can think of is, do you remember the Donald Glover stand-up that was kind of famous a couple of years ago? And he's like, did you guys ever hear rap in the 80s? And it would just be like them picking up a hat, being like, now I have this hat, and I'm going to walk down the street and put on this hat. That's what the song is.
Basketball is
my favorite sport.
I like the way
they dribble up and down the court.
That's the best line. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Fucking, it tickles my brain. It itches something that I didn't know I needed itched.
I love that basket.
All-time sample right there, too. That chorus, that little interlude right there is great.
That song sucks.
No, you suck. And then do a nice one that came out, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. I was on a Lil Wayne mixtape. I don't even think it was on an album. Is Kobe Bryant from Lil Wayne. That's a good one as well.
All right, so you guys go on social media. Tell us your Mount Rushmore of basketball songs. What a basketball extravaganza this was.
Yeah, what a time. It was a real March Madness segment here in April.
You had told me, I don't think this episode goes beyond 20 minutes, but what you didn't realize is that I watched Double Teamed.
I think contributions to this podcast, you 40 minutes, me 5 minutes.
I watched Double Teams, guys. I watched the full movie. I recommend you do the same.
I watched a movie with the same title. It was just a different plot.
And what's great is that when you search it on Disney Plus, that pops up, and then Luck of the Irish pops up, and anything else that they have to do with basketball. And I'm like, I wish I was watching those.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think what stems from this is one of these days, weeks, we'll end up doing like all those Disney originals. We'll do a top 10 or something like that.
Or even just 10 that we've seen.
Or maybe we'll tier them.
We can tier them if I've seen them. I've definitely seen all of them. I just can't think of any of them.
I think you know which one or it might have been a show. What was the show? Was Brink the mother in Double Team? I forget her name. She's kind of like a rock.
Easy on the eyes. I'll tell you that much.
Did she have that show where she was on the road and Brink was her son?
The Jersey?
No, not the Jersey. I remember.
I hated the Jersey.
She was like a rock star. She like played guitar. I don't know if it was Brink that was her son though. I also don't remember if it was a show or a movie.
Well, now I'm thinking of that show that was on Disney. Was it called like Weird something or like Strange something? And it was like that little psychic girl. Remember her?
Are you thinking of That's So Raven?
No, that's a different show. This one she could see
Secret
ghosts.
Life of Alex Mack.
No, this one she could see ghosts.
See ghosts. Sounds spooky.
This would be in a block with the famous Jet Jackson.
Oh, I don't remember this one at all.
I also like when you had mentioned this to me last night. I was on Wikipedia looking at all like the titles, And when I would see like 3 good ones in a row, I'm like, wow, what a fucking run of Disney Channel original movies.
They had a
Xenon, Brink, and Smart House all in a row.
They had like a 3 or 4 year. I probably like 98 to 02 or 97 to 01, all bangers.
Yeah. So we'll do that eventually. Mac, where can the people find us?
You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast. Every other platform, it's Mac ampersand Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. More importantly, we're on Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. If you do that, we'll get you a free Mac and Goo t-shirt from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. That's Watertown Sportswear. WatertownSportswear.com, expert screen printing and embroidery.
tpublic.com, merch over there right now. Buy some shirts. Check us out at the end of the week for a news dump, and we'll have to think of something else for Monday because we're reaching at this point.
Yeah, we did our basketball podcast. Now we're out of ideas.
And I thought it was
next
real.
Week we'll be doing hockey.
We can do hockey soon. We can do baseball. We can do football. I don't think other sports have the great scenes like basketball does, though.
Does Air Bud have a hockey movie or just a football one?
You're thinking of MVP, most valuable primate.
I'm not thinking of that, but
I think you're thinking of most valuable primate.
Air Bud has a great football movie too.
Yeah, that's a golden receiver, right?
There you go.
Yep.
Does anything compare to the first one though? Like with the snack packs and the fucking creepy clown, like that's the best one.
All right, let's beat the buzzer here, Mac. Tuesdays are Goose Days. I abuse kangaroos.
Bye.
King Burton.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.